Welcome along to VAR from the Truth, Ep.2. How are you doing today?
Mate, I'm all good. How are you? Well, been better, obviously,
Yeah,
after last night's
yeah,
result. But what about you, bro? How are you?
yeah. Not too bad. A day to reflect on the result and also just all the other results over the weekend. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's been a
it
busy
was a big
day, but
weekend. It was a big weekend, and obviously we got transfer deadline day today.
yeah.
It's all been going on. We'll get to that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but first off, bro, we need to talk. I reckon we just go straight in and talk about the big one.
Yep.
Um, Arsenal Liverpool. How you feeling?
Um, yeah, I think obviously, last week we said that, if, obviously we're both Arsenal fans, but if they don't play well or if they lose or, we're not going to be biased towards Arsenal. So I think that's important to say.
Yeah.
Um, but in terms of the game, it was a typical top of the league game. It was, very cagey. There were not a lot of chances, not a lot of shots in total. Um, but it was a good game. I thought it was a good game. Like defenses really cancelled each other out, which was nice to see. You know, I feel like over the past few years we've seen so many games. With these high scoring games, and it was nice, almost nice to go back and see quite a defensive game from both teams, especially in the first half. It opened up a bit in the second half, but it made out to be a good game. And I mean, if there's a way to win it, that goal was unbelievable.
Mate, I mean, if you're gonna win a game or lose a game,
Mm.
you want to lose to a goal or win the game with a moment of magic like that. It was a top free kick.
Mm.
Mate, it just had everything on it. It had a bit of swaz. It like
Yeah.
moved in the air.
Hmm.
Like I think, mate, even the commentators they didn't realize it went in. There was like a slight little pause
Yeah.
between the goal, and I think Peter Drury like had a little moment where he made me think it didn't go in, and I was like, but then my heart broke. Obviously we're gonna keep it neutral.
Mm.
But I will talk a little bit as an Arsenal fan right now about the game. I feel that. Oh, do you know what it reminded me of, bro?
Mm.
You know when Sir Alex used to go away to like a big European away ground and he used to play like Ji-sung Park
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah,
to like buzz about and like um, like man mark someone. I
yeah,
felt that Arteta tried to do something a little bit similar to that with Mourinho. He tried to like
yeah.
make us very difficult to play against. He obviously went very conservative. I
Mm.
don't mind that. There's a lot of outrage out there because of obviously like people talking about Arteta's mentality and that he doesn't have what it takes to win against like the big teams and go away to these away grounds and
Mm.
really get let us win. And I've we've got the best record against the top six. So he
Yeah.
knows what he's doing. We
Hmm.
do win. I know Anfield's a really tough place to go, and I'd rather go to Anfield and still be in the game, even if that means sacrificing some attacking threat throughout the game.
Yeah.
Um, but obviously, 9 times out of 10, I think that game ends in a draw. It
Yeah.
was just you can't really. You just have to hold your hands up and say, you're just beaten by a crazy goal.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, bro, I was gutted. Obviously, I
Mm.
felt deflated after the game, but
Well,
we move on.
I definitely got a lot of banter from some of my Liverpool mates. They were
Same, bro.
happy with the result, which they should be. They didn't particularly play well in the first half, I don't think. In the
Yeah,
second half, they came out better, and I think probably between minute 50 and but when they scored, I think they had the upper hand. But it's what you expect at Anfield. Even when the first half ended, I thought if I was a Liverpool fan, I was thinking I'm not sure if I'd be too happy with that because
yeah,
they were quite defensive. Granted, they didn't concede, so obviously it makes it seem like it was a good plan. But second half, they came out, they did a lot better. I feel like Arsenal maybe could have made some subs earlier.
yeah.
Um, it was quite reactive to Liverpool getting back in the game rather than being proactive. But these things happen, and at the end of the day, good game of football. And obviously we've got a couple of week break now for the internationals, and then
Yeah,
we go again.
yeah, 100%. And do you know what? I do want to give Arnie Slot some credit because I do feel like he made a few adjustments
Mm.
um, after that first half because Arsenal seemed to be pressing Liverpool really well in that first half, and they were like being made to rush their build-up play, and Van
Yeah,
Dijk and people were like all their defenders really, even Gravenberch, he was like struggling to have any time on the ball. And
yeah,
I noticed what they did is they kind of dropped into a back three and pushed the fullbacks up,
hmm,
and it made Arsenal have to run a longer distance to close them down. They had to like make a decision, and I
yeah,
found that once he made that tactical adjustment, they were able to really build up from the back a lot easier, and that in the end really won them the game because they were
yeah.
able to play through the lines. And obviously, it was a great ball into was it Curtis Jones, and
I
then
think so.
Zubimendi
Yeah,
fouled him.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, there was. It's just that it's just down to the finest of margins, really. But
yeah. Just like any
yeah,
big game
it's
is.
100%, bro. 100%. Obviously, another big talking point of the weekend was Man City, bro. We're at Brighton. Um,
Yes,
guess who's are above them?
Man United.
Man United are above Manchester City.
I know.
All that talk, like
Yeah,
all that talk, and look at
yeah.
the table, bro. That's crazy.
I know, I know. I think, I mean, me and you watched the game, and I think I turned it on probably earlier, slightly earlier than you did, and I remember you asking me, how they were playing,
Yeah,
and to be honest with you, it was a really open game. It was really evening. Brighton played really, really well. Um, Obviously, Haaland got the initial goal. Um, and then obviously a James Milner penalty, which actually I saw popped up, made him the second oldest scorer in the Premier League ever,
is it?
and he also has the record. Well, not the record. He also is the second youngest player to score in the Premier League. So in his
That's
six
mad,
hundred, six
mate.
hundred,
What a career he's had.
unbelievable, mate, unbelievable. He's still
What a
going.
career. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's just a
still going.
machine. There's like stories about James Milner's work ethic, isn't there? About how like he outruns everyone and like the way
Mm.
he like lives the footballing lifestyle.
Yeah,
And like I mean the proof's in the pudding because I mean he's still going, still performing at a top level. How old is he now? Is he like
39.
see
Yeah,
bro, like most players are in the MLS or in Saudi Arabia at that age and I mean he's
yeah,
scoring equalising penalties against Man City in the Prem. Like, take my
yeah.
hat off to him. Fair play. Fair
Absolutely.
play.
But yeah, it was definitely a big talking point. The fact that they lost, and Pep Guardiola seems, I don't want to say ran out of ideas, but they don't seem any different to last season, to be honest with you. They seem exactly the same. They've got, obviously they brought in some good players. But when you look at, for example, like a De Bruyne, he's in the Serie A and he's been ripping it up in the first few games. And you think, are they missing something like that? Obviously, Shirky was out. I think he's back end
I
of
think he's out for
October.
2 months now. Yeah. So
Yeah. So that's an early blow for them. Um, are they going to sign Donnarumma before the window
I think,
closes?
mate, it's been a here we go. I think on that
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Here we go. Donnarumma joins Manchester City. Transfer fee worth over 30 million with add-ons.
Yeah.
30 million euros that is. So that's not. I mean, they got a goalkeeper now.
Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah.
be interesting, obviously, with Donnarumma coming in because I know Pep's always loved the ball playing goalkeeper,
Mm,
and Donnarumma he can play out with his feet. I mean, PSG were very good last season, but he's not that typical like
yeah.
Allison or Edison or David Raya
Yeah.
type goalkeeper. Like he's a very big presence. Obviously,
Mm,
commands his box very well. So maybe Guardiola's thinking, do you know what? I feel like I'm gonna be facing a lot more shots, and I need a shot
yeah.
stopper.
Yeah.
It might be a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
little adjustment because we saw what he did against Arsenal. Um,
Mm.
at the Parc de France in the
Yeah,
Champions League, he had
and
one of the
Liverpool as
best
well.
goalkeeping displays. Yeah, so I mean he's as good as it gets really in that sense.
Absolutely.
Um, in terms of Man City, bro, for me, I think they've obviously they strengthened their midfield. That Reinders looks a player. They've got Shirky. They've obviously went big in January, bought Marmoush as well, but
Mm-hmm.
their issues their defense.
Yeah,
I mean, ever
yeah,
since Kyle Walker has gone out of the team, and there's
mm,
been issues with Kyle Walker, he always used to be kind of like their sweeper. You know,
yeah,
when balls were played over the top and they played this high line, Kyle Walker would be there, and his
yeah,
pace always allowed them to get away with it.
mm,
But I remember thinking, because you know Kusanov went off injured,
yeah,
and I think earlier on in the game, a ball very similar was played by Welbeck,
mm,
and Kusanov made a brilliant tackle because
yeah,
he's got a little bit of pace. And then obviously he went off injured, and a very
mm,
similar type of play went on. And Ruben Diaz just doesn't have the pace, and nor does John
yeah,
Stones to like
yeah,
cover these runners.
yeah,
And I just think that their whole back line is just lacking any sort of pace. And I
yeah,
think they should have invested in that back line, get a little bit of pace in there. And I
yeah,
think that's going to cost them big. And obviously as well, Rodri was back. He started, and that was the big. That was what Man City was saying last season. You know, as soon as Rodri's
yeah,
back, it will all change, and you know we're going to be challenging for
mm,
the Prem again. They might still challenge, but
yeah.
so far it's not looking good. It's not
No,
looking
it's
good,
not.
bro.
And obviously it's and it's obviously yeah, it's early days, but I think they don't look like themselves, and um teams are still finding a way to get points off them. So long may it continue, to be honest.
Bro, here's a question for you: how long, if this carries on and they carry on same as last season, how long does Pep get?
I don't think that's a question, to be honest. I think he's almost put so much, for he's just put so much money into the bank in terms of, what he's done for the
Respect.
club. Yeah.
Yeah.
That I think unless it went drastically wrong and, they were where United or Tottenham were last season, then I think that's only when you could maybe be like, okay, let's have a conversation. But I think if they end up third or fourth, and even if they don't win a cup or something, I think he'll still be able to make the final decision. I think that's how highly respected he is at Manchester City by the ownership. So I don't think that would happen, but it would be because I think one thing I think is
I think
when
he's partly to blame for what's going on.
yeah, of course, and I think when he eventually does go, whether he's sacked or whether he leaves, how do Manchester City look after that? Will they whoever they get in next, will they be able to get back to winning 4 Premier Leagues in a row, or will they sort of fade away and maybe win one here and one there? And so it is an interesting question to think when he's gone. When he's gone, what's
Yeah,
he going to
what
be like?
is yeah, like what is next for Man City? Like what is life like without Pep Guardiola? It's almost like what's life like without Sir Alex Ferguson in a way. We're talking
Yeah,
about the same caliber of manager really. Like we're talking about the very,
absolutely.
very best who have ever done it.
Mm,
But I personally think that it's I think a lot of City fans are starting to get fed up with how
mm,
they're playing, and they're starting to get a bit frustrated. Obviously, as you said, he's done so much for them, so
yeah,
it's very like if anyone's going to be safe in their job, it's probably him. But I mean, even with Arsene Wenger, he did great things for Arsenal, but the fans ended up getting.
yeah, yeah,
I just think something's happened to Pep. I just don't. I feel like he seems a little bit different.
yeah.
Um, do you know what's kind of joke, bro? I saw this like meme the other day. He like Pep Guardiola was like, "Oh, you wait and see how much of a genius I am when I could use 5 subs in a game," and like, and like since that moment, like bro's not won anything. It's kind of jokes, isn't it? Like he jinxed himself.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I think. obviously moving on to the other side of Manchester,
Yeah,
the red side,
United. Yeah,
they uh they
they got
pulled
that
out.
win.
Yeah, they pulled out a last minute winner against the amazing Burnley. So I know they were very proud of that win. So
Yeah, saw Bruno Fernandes was reaction
yeah,
to winning that game.
I mean, at the end of
Was
the day, it's a last minute winner. So I understand the celebration, and
yeah,
it's their first win of the season. So
yeah, 100%.
maybe they'll kick on after that. They've got a nice couple of week break now, so and they
Yeah,
can.
they really needed that, and you know they're probably going to kick on from this.
Mm,
And I mean they have showed they played some good football this year. They haven't got the results, but they have in spells showed that there's something happening.
yeah,
Like it's not been a like against Arsenal they played well.
yeah,
Obviously the big one was
Grimsby.
Grimsby,
Yeah,
who lost to Bristol Rovers on the weekend, by the way, which is just mad. It really puts it into perspective because we're Bristol boys. We grew up in
yeah,
Bristol, so like we kind of understand where Bristol Rovers are at as a football club. And to think of Bristol Rovers beating Man United is
would
crazy.
yeah,
It's like you'd never think it would happen. So it just
exactly.
shows you how big that Grimsby town
Yeah,
victory was. But fair play to United. Obviously, Cunha got injured for them. That's probably that probably was a dark cloud over their day. But
yeah,
um, still a good win, and let's see what they can do kicking on.
yeah. And I think if anyone needed the break, it was Amarin.
Yeah,
It's got 2 weeks now to obviously the players that are going to go play international. That's fair, but the ones that are going to stay behind, he's got time to work on them with the pitch. For a
yeah.
couple of weeks, and because their next game is Man City, so they need to be up for it.
Is it? It's going to be a
Yeah,
good game. That's
yeah.
God. Yeah. Imagine Man United win that.
And I won't put it past them to be honest, but
No, they love playing again. Is that Old Trafford? No, no, it'll be at City Ground, isn't it?
I
Yeah,
think so. I think it's at the Etihad. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure.
yeah.
Um,
Right, I heard someone the other day. It just made me laugh. Like, they called the Etihad the empty had. And I was,
Wait, it's all those plastic fans, mate.
yeah, true. It's like empty had. That just made me chuckle, bro.
One other result, that I'd probably like to mention is the Everton.
Mate,
Another win.
need to get Jack Grealish in my fantasy team. And Dewsbury
Trust
Hall,
me,
bro.
trust me.
They're
Honestly,
looking good. They're looking good. And mate, David Moyes, like, what a manager.
yeah, yeah,
Because he's still,
absolutely.
I bet West Ham are absolutely ruining that they
Mm,
sacked him.
yeah,
Because he knows how to organise a team. They're always hard to beat, um, compact. And now he's added a bit of flair and quality
mm,
up top with Grealish
yeah,
and Hall. They're gonna do well this season. And obviously they moved into their new stadium.
yeah. It looks like it's
Um, it looks
giving
it
them a big effect. To be
boost.
fair.
Yeah, definitely. So that's mate. One thing we have to talk about is VAR.
Hmm.
And again, in the Chelsea game,
Yeah,
Chelsea Fulham. Obviously,
so that's the second week running for Chelsea.
that's just well, yeah, no, yeah, not second week running, but that's twice
Yeah,
at
twice
Stamford
already.
Bridge. They've got away with it in my opinion, big time. And obviously, that goal to me, I think it's crazy that it was disallowed.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I think.
it's
I mean, listening to so many other people talking about it, and where else was he supposed to put his foot?
yeah.
Muniz does a good, almost like a sort of pirouette slash Maradona turn on the ball when he receives it, and his foot goes down. And to be honest, Chalobah comes in with a late tackle, but because he doesn't tackle and he just stands, Muniz just puts his foot down, um, and obviously lays it off, and then obviously they go and score, which great goal by young
What
Josh King.
I mean, what a moment that would have been for him.
Yeah,
What a goal! And it's
Marco
just
Marco Silva rightly was absolutely
human. He was
Uh,
absolutely fuming.
and then for Chelsea to go and score on the ninth minute of 8 minutes added on.
Yeah, of 8 minutes added on, it didn't help. And then after that, they got a VAR intervened again for
Mhm.
a penalty. It was a handball. What did you think? Do you think that was a rightful penalty or?
So just before, I believe it was Sessegnon, that handballs it. The ball was sort of up in the air in the box, and João Pedro, the ball hits his arm. But they didn't seem to give that one. And it was similar to the one in the Arsenal Liverpool game where it hit Zoboszlai's arm. It was a bit similar to that. So obviously they said that wasn't a penalty, and then obviously they crossed it in. And to be fair, Sessegnon's arms there.
Yeah, for me it
It
was a
is a
pen.
penalty.
It
Yeah,
is a pen. It's just the doubt was what happened with João Pedro.
yeah,
Uh, Obviously, and I mean that's VAR intervening with two massive decisions in the game, and
mm,
I think obviously the first initial one, the game's probably very different if Fulham go 1-0 up.
they were playing well.
Um, they were playing really well. Chelsea was struggling. They looked like the better team up until that moment, and obviously, you know, Chelsea found a way. Um,
Yeah,
but I think the game's gone if goals are overruled with when that type of thing happens.
yeah. I think it's just too much. It's too much interference, to be honest
It's
with you.
too much.
Like VAR is there for howlers.
For
Like
absolute howlers.
yeah, that's in my opinion that's the only reason it's there. It's there for absolute howler. That's not a howler. If the referee. Okay, fair enough. If they want to call the referee over to the monitor to have a look at it, but I think once he looks at it, he's got to say, well, one, where's his foot meant to go?
Yeah,
Because Chalobah's just coming behind him. So where am I supposed to put my foot? And it's just not. It's not a free kick all day long. It's not a free kick at
it's
all.
not. And the goal should have stood, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
it's a real shame. And I think, have you noticed that refs never go to the screen now and kind of
Say
stick
no.
with their guns?
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't now, do they? It's like they're so scared
Mm,
to go against the grain that they
yeah.
just, as soon as VAR call them over, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
it. You
almost like
know,
that. As soon as people watching at home or people in the stadium, as soon as you know the referee's going over,
the
whatever
decision. Yeah,
yeah, it's basically already made.
yeah,
I think yeah, it's getting to the point where it's just becoming it's too involved.
yeah,
Um, and even when you score a goal now, you're sort of waiting, and you're like, is this going to be a
yeah.
goal? Is there going to be something that happened 2 minutes before where
That
it went
it's
out
going to get.
play? Or yeah, so it's just too much.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating as a fan and just someone who loves football to see it constantly interfering with
Yeah.
with our game, and something needs to be happen. And touching on something that you said last week is, what do the refs do on a
Mm,
Monday?
yeah.
Like, what does Howard Webb get them doing? Does he have a
Yeah.
team meeting? Like, I know when I go into work, we have a team meeting on a Monday,
Mm,
and you would
yeah.
think that there was a higher level of organisation
Yeah.
by Howard Webb to get some consistency across his
Yeah.
referees. And
Because they put out a statement to say that they made a mistake. So
yeah,
and look, it's human error. I know people make mistakes. I get that. Um, but this is elite level football where you can't, the players can't make mistakes. Otherwise, they might concede a goal. So the referees, should be held to the
oh,
same standard.
and VAR actually came out and said that they got it wrong
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
that Josh King goal. So, but what are the consequences?
Well, you can't do
You've
anything
cost
now,
you've
can you?
cost Fulham potentially 3 points or a point,
Yeah.
and you've cost a young lad a fantastic moment. But there's not even a slap on the wrists,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they? It's like just apologising.
Yeah. For the
There
sake of
needs
it.
to be some form of governing body maybe created that all refs have to adhere to certain standards, and you
Mm.
can't. I don't really know
Yeah.
how to get it right, but it's something that needs to be addressed for sure, bro.
Mm, for sure. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. So, Jadon Sancho, here we go. Aston Villa.
I
Initial loan.
right. Yeah, thought it would be.
Part salary covered by Man United.
Which they won't be happy about.
No. Do you like that move for Sancho? Do you like that move for Villa? Do you think that's going to work?
Um, yeah, obviously it reminds me of the Rashford one last season. Obviously that was only a 6 month loan in the end. So it's a bit like that, but obviously they've gone for the full season now, and I think Villa needed something. I'm not sure if Sancho's the right one, but there's no doubt there's a player there. But it's just whether the mental is there, and if you can get a run of games. But Aston Villa, obviously, they haven't scored a goal in the league so far.
It's crazy. You
Yeah, which
see Emery's rant yesterday after the game.
no,
He was fuming, bro. It was kind of jokes. Like I've never seen him like this that animated. And obviously, he's very frustrated. Obviously, because he hasn't been able to, improve his squad.
yeah,
And obviously, he's got a couple loan deals. I think they were looking to get Paqueta as well.
wow, yeah,
For
yeah, yeah, yeah.
46 million or something like that. But I don't know if that's actually going ahead yet. But
I think he said no. I think
yeah,
Paqueta
he
said
get
no.
in his celebration, didn't he? He like
Yeah,
put the
yeah,
phone down and was just like, he was like, nah.
yeah, absolutely. And it was a good win for West Ham. They needed that.
They
They
really
needed.
needed that, and I think that was one of the most surprising results of the.
Well,
That was
I had Chris Wood as captain in my FPL, so you can imagine how that result went down.
yeah,
So yeah, it was probably the shock of the weekend, to be honest. I think everyone had Nottingham Forest winning that at home.
yeah, especially after West Ham's start to the season and
Yeah, and then they absolutely tore them apart 3-0.
Jared
So
Bowen, what a talisman he's been for West Ham, and
yeah,
great finish to get it all started,
yeah.
and yeah, that was a surprising one. That was a very
Mm.
surprising one.
But going back to the Sancho one before we move on to the next transfer, I think if you can get a run of games, it it might, it's a loan, so it might work out, but who knows with Sancho? I think.
Yeah, who knows? The thing is, he's on such high wages at United. He's on something like 350
Yeah,
k a week there, so it's gonna like he just wants to probably get that money for as long as he possibly can.
cool. I
And
don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. So another big deal on deadline day. Wissa has gone
Mm,
to Newcastle,
yeah.
and but that's a great signing for them. I think Newcastle played pretty well in their
Mm,
games. Haven't got their desired results, and the
yeah.
big factor in those games for me has been a lack of goals.
Yeah.
And obviously their big number nine has gone to Anfield, so they kind of needed to replace him with two players, and obviously Callum Wilson
Mm,
left as well. He went to West Ham, so
yeah.
up front they
Got
were
goal.
really short.
Yeah.
So Wissa's a great signing for them. I think he'll
It
do well
is.
there, and he's
Yeah.
happy coming off the bench as well. So it'll be good for Waltermaid to rotate with him, and
Yeah.
that's a good signing
Yeah.
for Newcastle.
Two very good signings right at the back end of the window. So I think they should be able to kick on now. So they've got Champions League football, so they needed that. They need a whole squad
Yeah,
of players. So it's two good signings that I'm interested to see in the black and white.
let's see. Well, let's see how well they perform because
Mm,
if they perform well, then Newcastle will probably have a good season. I just
absolutely.
wanted to get your reaction on Ten Hag getting the sack at Bayer Leverkusen. I think,
Already.
already, bro. I mean
Well, didn't they lose? Who
that
did they
guy.
lose to in?
Nothing's gone right for that guy since that Garnacho offside against Arsenal, bro. Like ever since then, it's just been downhill.
I mean, who did they lose to in? Didn't they lose to
I don't
someone
even know that.
pre-season?
I'm not gonna lie, but I haven't even seen their results to be honest. But I just can't. I thought I was dreaming.
Yeah, I think they lost to like Flamengo or Botafogo pre-season. It was like 4-0.
Oh mate, they got battered by
Yeah,
someone. Yeah,
yeah. And obviously Xhaka's left, Wirtz has left, Frimpong's left. They've
Incapi, that guy, that Arsenal.
Jonathan
Uh,
Tah's left.
yeah, they've lost a lot of players.
They,
A lot
they,
of players.
it obviously it reminds me of the sort of Brentford situation. They've had that
Yeah.
whole, obviously Xabi Alonso, their whole sort of squad and managerial setup's been decimated. So I'm not surprised he's been sacked. And I mean, I'm not sure where he goes next. Along with Mourinho, to be honest, obviously he got the sack from Fenerbahce. They didn't make it through to the Champions League group stage. Where does Mourinho go next?
I just think it's crazy what's happened in Mourinho's career in these
Mm,
last 5 years.
yeah,
Because he's gone from, Pep Guardiola, Sir Alex Ferguson, like he still is one of the greatest managers of all
yeah,
time,
of
but
course.
it's almost like the game's just evolved past him.
Yeah, it's almost like you've got Mourinho pre 2014 and Mourinho after 2014.
Yeah, it's like something's just changed.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and I'm
it's
not sure.
I'm not sure what's happened, but he's a great personality. I would
Mm,
love to see him back in the Prem.
yeah,
Ten Hag, I can see him probably going back to Holland. I think after
yeah,
the horror show at Manchester United, and now probably even worse with
yeah.
Bayer Leverkusen. I can only see him. He probably needs to take some time. That's got to be a bit of pill for him to swallow, bro. That's crazy to me.
For sure, for sure.
The guy can't catch a break. He cannot catch a break. Like, bro was cursed ever since he condemned Ronaldo to the bench.
Yeah, literally,
Like
literally.
Ronaldo was had a chat with the football gods and was just like, "Nah, ruined this guy's career, bro." And obviously, what a crazy transfer story. Nicholas Jackson was in Munich, and then obviously Liam Delap's hamstring went in
Yeah.
against Fulham,
Mm.
and he was probably ready to do his medical,
Yeah.
settling into his new home, and then he's back on a plane to London and got back to London, and now it's here we go again to Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
So
But
he's done
but
like the
did you
full
see
three.
they got even more money?
Did they?
Yeah, they got. I think it was originally. I think it was about 15 million for the loan fee, and it's now increased to
15
six,
million loan fee. That's crazy.
and it's now increased to 16 and a half.
Chelsea is such a good selling club.
Mate,
It's
honestly,
ridiculous.
it's
It's
unbelievable.
absolutely ridiculous. Can you imagine Arsenal getting a loan fee of 15 million for one
Fabio
of our,
Vieira.
yeah, trust, bro.
We wouldn't
It's
get
just never
10
happening.
million. Yeah, we won't get 10 million for him.
Talking
Uh,
about like Arsenal's, like we got this graphic up not too long ago, and I was in disbelief when I saw that like Arsenal's record sale was Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain to Liverpool
mm,
for like 35 million. I
yeah,
mean, that's Chelsea's, like, that's probably mid range of their list. They've sold,
yeah,
like, that's such a good selling club, and it's something Arsenal need to improve at, because
yeah,
you need to be making a profit to reinvest it for sure.
absolutely, absolutely.
And then here we go, Manchester United um, sign Lamens as a new goalkeeper, 21 million deal. Obviously, there was a lot of talk that Martinez, the Aston Villa keeper, was on his way to United. He
Yeah,
didn't feature yesterday either. And
yeah.
then Lamens seems to be the guy for Amnarim. And I mean, they needed to sort that. They needed a new goalkeeper.
Yeah,
Um,
they do. But obviously he's coming from I think it's Royal Antwerp in Belgium.
yeah,
Obviously he's a young
not
lad.
proven.
He's not proven. It's going to take him time to adjust to the league and the physicality of the league, probably. And is that what they need? I'd probably say no. I'd probably say a Martinez, even though I think Martinez sometimes has a mistake in him, but a Martinez he knows the league. He's a great shot stopper that we know. He does
Yeah.
come out of his box, but they've decided to go down a different route, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Is it going to be
We'll see
another
what it's a
flopper?
gamble, isn't it? It's a gamble. I haven't heard much about him or seen much of him, but what I have heard is he's quite tall, and I think he's good at dealing with crosses, which is definitely something that United need to, to fix. So
The last thing they need is another flapper in goal.
no, no.
So
Obviously, a bit of movement for Arsenal, and Reece Nelson has gone to Brentford on a
mm,
season-long loan. I like that signing for Brentford. I think
yeah,
Reece Nelson is really underrated player.
yeah,
You know, he's
he's
he's good
direct.
on. Hmm.
He's very direct. He can finish. So I think it's a good signing. I've always liked him at Arsenal. I just think can be a bit injury prone, so I understand why. You know,
It's just never really worked out for him. He's
yeah,
never had the opportunity, and he's never really hit the heights that was of a Saka or someone else coming through the hail end. But
yeah,
he's been a he's I think he'll do well at Brentford, and he's a good winger. And at times in pre-season, he looked like Arsenal's best left winger.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so he's definitely got something.
Mm.
Another big move for Aston Villa, Harvey Elliott.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just tell you. So, 35 million fee loan deal with obligation to buy guaranteed for Aston Villa. Um, Villa want Elliott for the deal, almost collapsed, but for Lucas Paqueta. So basically, I think they
Mm.
were going to go for Paqueta, but changed to Harvey Elliott. I mean, obviously Liverpool are getting Isak, which is the big
Yeah.
one that we need to
Mm.
talk about. But their squad is, I mean, Harvey Elliott, they don't really have many options, do they, off the bench? I mean, they've got Isak
No.
and Ekatike and Gakpo, but
Yeah. I mean,
not.
all you have to do is look at the subs list for the game on Sunday, and out of the two teams, you would have thought, okay, Arsenal have got some good subs on the bench, and Liverpool were lacking really in terms of subs on the bench. There wasn't really anyone to come off the
There wasn't
bench
any. No,
that was gonna, there was no one on the bench that scared me.
no.
But saying that, they still won the game. So,
Yeah.
but in terms of letting Elliot go is quite surprising, and I think with the Villa, I'm surprised because they let Jacob Ramsey go to Newcastle, and now they're bringing in Harvey Elliott. It seems like a like for like, so I don't really understand, but um, you know, eh,
Yeah,
some
I think Villa
some
have
do
just got
things
so
sometimes.
many. They just financially they're in a hole, and
Yeah,
it's tough.
yeah,
Um, bro, I think we need to probably end it with the big one and Alexander Isak. Let's talk Liverpool here because they've made two unbelievable signings, I think, on
yeah.
deadline day. And
Yeah.
we'll start off with Guehi.
Hmm.
That's a done deal. He's
Yeah,
going to be a Liverpool player now. What do you think of that?
I think it's going to be interesting to see who starts with Virgil, because Kanate, to be fair, in the first two games didn't look great, but against Arsenal, he was unbelievable. I thought, really dealt with. Obviously, the pair of them dealt with Bitsi Yokeresh really well. So it's going to be interesting to see. Will Gehi start? Will he eventually find his way into the team? Is this a signing more looking ahead, for the next summer where Kanate seems like he may be running down his contract to go to Madrid.
Yeah.
But having said all that, you know, Crystal Palace captain, one of England's best defenders, is a great signing for £35 million. It's a great sign.
35 million. It's an unreal bit of business because he is a top. He's young as well. He's a top quality defender. Um, I think isn't he a left-sided centre back or does he play on the right? I'm pretty sure he plays on the left of the 3-4 Palace, and then I remember him for England starting on the left. So I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
quite interesting because obviously that's Van Dijk's position, and I don't see him getting in over Van Dijk. Like,
No,
do you see him being a starting centre back for Liverpool? Has he been bought as a little bit of backup, maybe play left back?
You'd like to think he'd start. Maybe not straight away, but you'd like to think at some point, obviously, he'll get a run of games, whether it's Champions League or in a
And
couple of club.
Canate came off injured against Arsenal
Yeah, he did.
yesterday, or it was cramp. It's too early to say, but he just came
Yeah,
off. And Canate does pick up a few knocks during the season, so he'll definitely get some game time. But
yeah.
it's a quality signing for Liverpool, and they did definitely need to, you know,
Mm,
they needed to address some cover at the back, and I
yeah,
think they've done that with that signing.
yeah, absolutely. And then I guess finally moving on to the big one up front, 130, I think it is, 130 million.
130 million.
A British transfer.
And no add-ons, I don't think. I think it's just a fixed fee of 130 million, a British transfer record. And yeah, it's
It
what
it's
a
honestly
signing.
it's honestly like they found oil under Anfield because I don't know where they're getting all this money from. I appreciate they
400
have
million they've spent
like
this
you
summer.
surely in January or next summer they can't really be signing anyone because
The
all
thing
this
is that from what I've heard, it's because they didn't sign anyone last year,
right.
and they've PSR wise they've just got the money to spend. They've got the big, but it's a top. So it's a signing that doesn't very often happen in the Prem. It's
Yeah.
almost like it feels like that Galactico Real Madrid signing,
Mm,
and I
yeah.
suppose in many ways Liverpool kind of are gathering the Galacticos this season. They've spent over 100 million on Florian Wirtz.
Mm,
Now they've got Isak for a similar price,
yeah.
um, and I mean they've kind of replaced Mo Salah's goals as well
Mm,
with
mm,
Wirtz if Wirtz comes good.
yeah.
Um, because in the long run, how long Salah got left at the top, and I mean Isak is kind of going to be their star man
Yeah.
because he is that good. So it's a quality signing, and it's going to be. I think Akatike is probably going to be pushed out to that left wing a little bit. I know he can play
Mm,
there. Probably rotate with Cody Gakpo. It gives them
yeah.
another option, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's looking scary for the rest of the league. And
I said to one of my mates who's a Liverpool fan, I was like, at this point, you should be looking at all the trophies and
yeah,
thinking we've got a chance at all of them. And if they don't come away with a couple of the big prizes, there'll be some questions answering.
yeah,
Um,
there'll be some questions asked, as there should be when you spend that level of money. There's no excuses.
mm,
They're definitely favourites now for the
yeah,
Prem.
for
They've
sure.
won their first three games. They're top of the league already. Um, Champions League's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
The only thing that I feel could go wrong, I mean, we saw it with PSG when, I mean, Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar were there. When you bring these big stars
Mm,
together that are the main men of most teams, when
mm,
they come together, there can be a clash of personalities, and
yeah.
sometimes these Galactico teams don't necessarily work. But Isak feels a little bit different to me. He's willing to do
Yeah.
the running. Salah is as well.
Mm,
Verts is as well. There seems to be a work rate that they
yeah.
have there, and I mean, it's going to be an interesting. It's going to be a very long season. It's going to be There's going to be twists and turns. There's going to be ups and downs for all the clubs, and
Yeah.
you can. I'm going to be gassed to watch it all, and
For sure.
then we will cover it all on VAR from the Truth.
Absolutely, we will. Obviously, international break, but I'm sure we'll be back to talk about some of the international games and
Yeah,
anything like that that happens over the next week or so. So obviously we'll talk about that in more detail next week. But yeah, another good episode, and looking forward to it.
episode 2 done, and
Okay,
the studio incoming as well. You know,
absolutely.
big things are happening. So thanks for listening, and see you next time.
Thank you.